you feel
the power.
That's Colin Crandall over there, myself, Adam Roorda. That's actually the man of the hour, Colin. And I'm just another man with MMA Power Hour trying to put on a show in partnership with Lith Token. I am the blockchain architect over there, and I'm also a producer. So, hey, I'm in here trying to help get word out about all these great fights coming up, all the great fights that have happened. And Colin is the man with the interviews, the questions, and Lith Token is the cryptocurrency you guys should all be checking out, raising up in the ranks here on CoinMarketCap quite rapidly. It is lithtoken.io. That's LITH token.io. Go ahead and check them out.
Absolutely. It is fantastic, and he is the blockchain architect, and if Dr. Adam Roorda believes in it, I believe in it. It's a great project. And so
I more than believe in it. I mean, my heart and soul and lifeblood is into it right now. So not just as an investor, but an actual coder, guys. I just passed an audit through Hacken.io, the foremost auditing company out there. It is a very secure token that I've gone ahead and created, but it's designed to be centered around physical NFTs and a reward system for anybody that gets involved with the platforms themselves as they start getting launched and released. So
absolutely, so
pretty fun stuff that I like, and my heart and soul's behind it, Colin.
Absolutely, man, and I know it is serious, but hacking, that's the company where once they work for you, no one will be hacking into your stuff. Pretty much, right?
Pretty much, you hire them to hack your stuff.
Oh.
Literally, that's what you do, and they find all the vulnerabilities, all the security vulnerabilities, everything, and they make sure you get it fixed.
I like it.
And we actually, on the first audit, we're putting it for a repass to try to get a perfect score. And I can tell you, we got high marks on the first round, and everybody was impressed. So awesome. Pretty cool.
I like it. I like it. Well, I appreciate it, and I think it's a great project, man. And we're waiting for that to take off, and it will. So don't be last or late for the show, or the don't be late for the success and the great move.
Yeah, don't be late to it. It's early game right now. Exactly. Everybody, and this isn't financial advice, but if you want to get behind a good project, this is a great one. Only available via decentralized finance right now. However, we are working on a US friendly centralized exchange. We are available also on Waledo.com for those of you not in the United States.
Absolutely.
Hey, let's get down to it. Other than I'm going to throw out there, you guys will be seeing me do this. I quit smoking cigarettes, and I'm going to be switching down to a lower nicotine actually after this one. And I'm going to kick it, man.
I like it. You can do it.
It's working.
I know. I like it. I can see it. I know you can do it. You're going to get back in great shape, and you never got overweight, but you just weren't physically in that great shape with all the smoking. But you're going to get back and be in great shape. And
surprisingly great shape compared to most people, but that's because of my years and years of not smoking and being a wrestler.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
without a doubt,
bring it back in, and it's like,
I tell you, you're going to.
Although I was one of those in high school, cross country runner that did smoke cigarettes. I was a wrestler. I smoked cigarettes, and you know, I don't know how I did it, but there are people who do that.
Yeah, I mean, there was a pro boxer, I think, from Nicaragua or something years ago.
There's a few of them that are still doing it, and you know, when it comes to MMA fighters, there's a few. I've sat outside of T-Mobile Arena and had a cigarette with a couple. So
nice. I like it. Well, I'm going to say that this is your MMA show. We feel that we're one of the best, most informative, fun, and with the two probably more genuine hosts than you can find anywhere. We're not saying that everyone else sucks, but a lot of them do, but not all. But there's a lot of great shows out there, but we think that you'll like our show if you check us out. We are a show actually that knows what a woman is and can say it. If you're born with 2 X chromosomes, you're a woman. Bam, done. But I will say that we appreciate women, that's for sure. I heard a female comedian say the other day.
Say that.
You don't have to say that. I'm saying it. We appreciate women, and a woman comedian said on something I was watching last night that said, you know, if you're impressed by being a producer, all women can be producers because they can produce babies. So you got to give them that, and that is a woman. So we know what a woman is here, and so for those of you who know what a woman is and appreciates them, then you find great company here.
I mean, I appreciate women being able to give birth. I couldn't do it.
Nope, not for sure.
I'm not going to try to.
It would be bad. As
I'm not confused.
Yeah, exactly. No need to be confused. No.
Yeah, I got to be careful here, Colin. No.
Yeah,
no.
exactly. We're gonna say much, but blame it all on me. Don't blame Adam on that.
No, no, really. I'm personally, for me, I'm not confused. I do know what I am, but I do respect at the end of the day if someone is wanting to identify with another gender, that's fine.
Yep.
I'm not going to argue any of the semantics or politics. There's no point.
No, I agree. It is true. If we wanted to say we're frogs, we should be able to say it.
Yeah, I mean, really.
Yeah, why not?
100%.
What the hell?
100%. So teach their own. If you're not harming me, I don't care.
It's a
Do
matter.
whatever you want.
It's a matter of perspective. That is very true. I wonder what the hippies in the '60s would have thought. You would think they'd be going with it, or would it be kind of a divide?
I mean, it was the 60s, which is a different era. People weren't under the same understanding when it comes to, first off, that thought process of, do no harm.
Yeah.
That's the important thing.
Yeah.
I think if you are harming others, it's a different story. And we could get into the whole kids thing. It's gonna sound a lot different.
Yeah.
Kids don't have a choice.
That is right. That is true. You know what they say? You want to not be held harmless. No, you do want to be held harmless if anyone's suing you. But in reality, you just hold each other and be harmless. That's the best thing. Anyway, so we are close. What are we? 2 minutes in advance. So we hate to be fashionably early. So maybe let's wait one more minute. But we're so glad.
Well, that's still fashionably early.
Yeah. So we'll wait 2 more minutes, and we won't be early. We'll be dead right on time. But thank you guys and girls for jumping in here. We will say some funny stuff, off the wall stuff sometimes. Always respectful. Only love, no hate for anyone. And we just appreciate you guys being here. If you want to support the show, if you want to ask a question to one of our fighter guests today, we have 2 UFC fighters that are our guests. You want to have us ask your question, we do ask that you leave a little tip or what it is, a super chat or whatever it is.
The more controversial stuff like we just went over usually won't hit if you want us to ask a question on the lines of what we just hit. But sometimes the conversation is teed up right. So we'll push for controversy when it's right.
That's it. Tee it up, baby. Tee it up.
It is about respect here, though, guys.
Yeah, it really is. We're not ever disrespecting any of our fighters. I don't think there's a moment where we've done that. There isn't. I know there isn't. Anyway, so we are about
before
ready.
we hop in, thank you so much. If you're on the Hannibal TV, make sure to hit up our social media. It's at MMA Power Hour. And if you're on our social media watching us right now, I see the few of you that are. Make sure to head on over to the YouTube channel. It's the Hannibal TV, and you'll find it. Just throw it in the search bar. It's a red icon, red logo.
Absolutely. We appreciate you a lot, and we're going to hopefully bring you some entertainment, fun, good conversation with 2 fighters that are in the UFC, one for many years and one for a few years, and we think you'll enjoy it. So whenever you're ready for that first guest, Dr. Adam Roorda, let's cue that up. I got my Detroit Lions shirt here, wearing it with pride, even though our team is the losingest team ever. We finally set a record.
Hey, it's going to change. It's going to change.
I think so. We set a record by actually getting rid of our quarterback and having him win the Super Bowl the first year with another team. But
I know that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a great record.
Matt Stafford's mom actually made this hat.
Oh, nice. Very cool. Yeah, I know you have a friend that's a friend of Stafford's. I hope Cody will make this here. I know that we had confirmed, although I was hoping to.
Yeah, he's not online right now.
He's not online. Okay, let me touch base with him. We'll do my regular dictation here. Hey, Cody, we're trying to hit you up for the interview via Skype, but it looks like you're not online. Are you around? Question mark.
Colin is dictating on the show. It's just
tell you.
I don't know. Let us know what you guys think of Colin's dictation.
Yeah. Should I continue? Should I do more of it? Should I stop? Should I? Because you don't see that too much. I'm not saying it's an amazing feature on a show, but hey, it's different. Because before people would be like going, let's say, but now you can dictate.
Let's go with it.
It's incredibly entertaining for me and someone that really loves me, I guess. But if anyone like that exists, I don't know. But anyway, we got. Yeah, I know exactly. Nobody loves me. But animals do. I think I may have been an animal in a past life. Because. Here's a funny thing. I'll throw in some random funny things about myself, and I hope it's appreciated. I think once in a while it will kind of give you a little bit more of an insight into my personality. Once in a while people are going to say, that guy's just dumb as hell, but we'll see. So check this out. I love animals so much that I used to walk by a used car lot that was guarded by Dobermans. And the way it was set up, it was like you couldn't really tell that there was a used car lot or any kind of business coming up, because there was an apartment right next to it. So people would walk by, and the dogs would scare the hell out of them by barking, right? And so I found that if I went over to the gate, to the fence, and started talking to the Dobermans, they actually stopped barking. And so I kind of got a rapport going with the Dobermans that were guarding a used car lot. And I'd be like, how you doing, boys? What's happening? How's it going tonight? You getting some sun? You feeling good? Are you getting some good food? You look great. You're amazing. You're doing an amazing job of guarding those cars. No one would dare jump in there, man. Appreciate you guys. Love you, boys. Anyway, so one time I walked by there, and they had scared a nice older woman who was walking by and started barking, scared the heck out of her. And while they were barking, I said, stop that, boys. You know, and they literally looked over and they stopped barking. And I said, come on, that's a nice lady there. You don't want to scare her, ruin her day, and make her fall off her high heels, do you? And they all walked over to me like they were saying, he's talking to us again. What's he saying? And I was like,
what's this dum-dum saying to us? Hey, let's figure out.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, so next time be a little kinder. Maybe wait for a young kid and then scare the heck out of him. You know, but leave the older people, the ladies, you know, alone. Don't
scare the crap out of some 3-year-old.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Little kids, you know what I mean. But you know, I said, but behave yourself, boys. You know, it looks like you're doing well, and you know, don't try to ruin anyone else's day, even if you're super cranky today. Anyway, so that was that. Okay, so. Nothing back from him. So this is interesting because I actually don't think, I know that we had him on, I don't know if it was in 2017, I don't think it was, but we had him on, I think, starting in 2018. And I think we did have him on average like twice a year.
Yeah, he's in our favorites automatically because of how many times we've had him on the show. Yeah.
So
he's up there as
I don't think
one of the record setters.
Yeah, so. And I don't think there was once that he didn't make his appearance. I did.
There was one time.
Maybe, okay, but it's like 1 out of 6. You know what I mean? And so, but I will say that after confirming with him, first a week ago and then 3 days. Actually, no, I actually confirmed with him right after his victory this past Saturday, and we're good. In fact, you know what? I talked to him before. I actually asked him beforehand and confirmed it again because he said yes. And then anyway, I'm not trying to throw him under the bus, but he did not get back to me today. But I didn't worry about it because we had confirmed like midweek, like Wednesday,
3 times.
Thursday.
Yeah, I get it.
You know, so
hey, stuff happens though.
Yeah, it does. And you know, I mean, I tell you what, after a hard fight, you know, I don't think he went to the hospital because he was mostly the hammer in that fight. Although Eddie Wineland can still bang. But who knows? Maybe he's healing up, or maybe it took some extra sleep, or maybe he twisted his ankle and he's been, you know, not feeling good. I don't know. But so in a situation like this, Dr. Adam Roorda, shall we look at this amazing card? And
I've got stuff pulled up already, as you can see.
Exactly. I remember when you really got up to speed with modern MMA, which is about a year into our show, that you started to kind of notice that some people really liked when you and me did our breakdown. We sometimes would get bigger numbers for you and me doing the breakdown sometimes than a guest.
People love it when we get into it because and first off, our banter. Come on.
Yeah, it's great.
We gotta have fun.
We know each other so well. I mean, we can talk for like hours without stepping over each other's words, like usually even once. You know, so it's amazing. All right, let's start from the bottom because this is a guest that is in that first fight that we've had on the show twice. She is amazing. Vanessa Demopoulos. She was the former dancer, and what a personality. And she is going up against Jin Frey, or Fry, and I'm not sure, I think it's Fry, Jin Frey. Jin is older than her at 37. Jin is the former Invicta atomweight champion. If you look at the picture above Dr. Adam Roorda, how many women that weigh in at 115 pounds look that shredded and have that sort of muscle, you know, tie-ins like that? I mean, her body is sick. She's like absolutely a physical specimen. The rip on her, that's not probably the word I was looking for, or crack on her was just a little bit that she's a little bit older and that she's a little bit smaller, although I think 105 was a weight she just couldn't make any longer, and UFC doesn't have a 105, so I think it was a combination of both. And she's actually won 2 fights in a row after having lost her first 2 in the UFC. Am I right? Are we looking at, is that?
No, that's Vanessa's I'm looking at right now, but you're right.
Yeah. So yeah, Jen, and it was looking for a minute like Jen was going to be booted out of the UFC. Had she lost that 3rd fight, she would have been. But anyway, she's 2-2 in the UFC. She would really like to get this one. I just don't think she will. Vanessa Demopoulos, I think, is 3 or 4 years younger. What is Vanessa, 33, I think?
Yes, she is.
Yeah, 4 years younger. She's like 3 inches taller. And Vanessa is just such a nice, friendly, gracious person. No crack on Jin Frey. I don't know her personally. I don't think I've ever had a chance to talk to her, even at a post-fight press conference, because she's only been in 2 UFCs, and I don't think I was at either one. But bottom line is the odds makers see it. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
What am I looking at?
I have it flipped the other way for the odds makers.
Jin Frey like a 3-1 favorite? Are you kidding me?
I think Colin's saying bet on this one.
You know, there's no guarantees. There's no free money. Jin is tough. Jin is definitely looks like a slightly more experienced fighter. But no, man, this is Vanessa Demopoulos' fight. Yeah, this is a really good dog.
I actually agree with that. This is I'm throwing 20 on that one myself. I'm
yeah.
not telling you all out there to do it, but that's a good one.
Yeah, this is I think I thought Vanessa would be favored, or at least like a pick 'em, but no, that's off. Vanessa Demopoulos all day in that fight, in my opinion. Brian Kelleher, well, you know what? Let me ask you this, Adam. We've got like a dozen fights here, and our next guest is not set for 7:25. You want to try to touch on all of them?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, then let's examine here. Brian Kelleher, let's look at him first. Brian Kelleher versus Mario Bautista. Kelleher's 24-13. Not too many fighters are in double-digit losses and still in the UFC, but he's had so many great wars. At one point, he was on a really good winning streak, and since then, it's been kind of win one, lose one. A little bit better than that. He's win one, lose one, win 2, and lose 1. So let's see. Let's go back up a little bit. He did lose to Ricky Simone, who was a beast. He lost to Cody Stamen, who was our scheduled first guest here. And then he did have a 2-fight win streak after that. Let's go past the Ricky Simone fight. He did beat Domingo, a little bit higher up, brother. He did beat Domingo Pilarte and Kevin Kroom. And then he did lose by
rear naked choke
to Umar Nurmagomedov. Didn't Umar then beat Cody right afterward? Click on Umar. I think he did the same thing. No, he didn't. It was Saeed Nurmagomedov that beat Cody. Anyway, so going back to Kelleher. So Kelleher's coming off a loss against a killer at 35 years old and at featherweight. You know, they're showing him at featherweight, but I think this is a bantamweight fight. Click on Batista real quick and let's see. Maybe it is a featherweight fight.
Yeah, it's bantamweight.
I think it's a bantamweight fight. So anyway, his back is against the wall. He's got to win. He's a tough guy, but he's kind of looking a little bit like he might become a little bit of a gatekeeper here. Bautista also has had a couple losses, but look who he lost to. Corey Sandhagen, who's a killer. Trevin Jones is a very tough guy. He did beat Miles Johns, who's a really good fighter we've had on our show a few times, and he did beat Jay Perrin. The odds makers are going to probably have this almost even. Am I right, or let's take a look?
No, not really.
Favorite
It's
Batista.
almost 2-1.
Yeah, 1 3/4 to 1. Yeah, it's so hard. I mean, Batista probably should win. He's 8 years younger. I think he's like 3 or 4 inches taller. Check the height on that, Doc, and see. I think Batista might be 3, 4, 5 inches taller. Let me see. And we got Batista is 5'9". Kelleher, I think, is 5'6" or 7, 5'6".
Yep.
Yeah, everything is leaning Batista. Kelleher really does need the win more, though. He'll be fighting hard. I'm not going to touch this fight. I don't know. It would probably
Too
Batista,
much X factor in this one.
Yeah, there's no way to know. But I do know that both guys really need the win. I think Kelleher needs it more with his age and his recent fights. So anyway, next up we have J.P. Bays, the South African, against Cody Durden. This is a tough fight. J.P. Bays is 0-2 in his UFC career. His ex-wife has looked really good. Cheyenne, used to be Cheyenne Bays, now Cheyenne Vlismas. So his back's against the wall. His opponent, however, Mr. Cody Durden, is 1-1, having beat Huiling Aori, and then getting absolutely dismantled a few months to go by a man who is really, really legit, Mohammed Mokaev. I think they have Durden as a slight favorite here, don't they? I think they do. I'm pretty sure.
No.
No, it's Bays. Interesting. I'm leaning JP Bays too here. But it's not with a lot of confidence. I tell you what. So I was talking to a friend of mine, a fellow media MMA journalist, and I told him that when a guy's back is against the wall and he's got 2 losses and that's probably one fight away from being cut, that I will tend to bet them, and they come in a lot. And he said he does the opposite. He tends to fade them because they're already losing. Good chance they'll lose again. So. Who knows? My feeling is no, though. So I'm thinking JP Bays, back is against the wall, and as his name looks like it's spelled, buys, I think he buys himself an additional UFC contract with the win here, even though his name is Bays, but it's spelled like buys. All right, next. Now, Doc, I'm not even giving you a chance, but on these prelims, you probably don't have much of an opinion. You're kind of with me on that.
I'm pretty much with you. I am a little bit of a... I think Bays is definitely going to come in. I think he's going to show up and he's going to go on a tear for a while. He's
a talented guy.
Very talented guy.
Absolutely. Okay, next up, Haulian Paiva Sergey Morozov. Paiva is the Brazilian. I think he had a really good win, I think 2 years ago.
Yeah, he did.
But let me see. He lost to Sean O'Malley in the first round. That's right. But he had a 3-fight win streak going before that. He beat Mark De La Rosa, stopped him. Then he beat Zalgas Samugulov, who's a tough guy. And then he did win that big decision as a 5-1 dog against the Matrix Kyler Phillips, and then did not have much success against Sugar Sean O'Malley. Sergey Morozov is the man from Kazakhstan, and he is coming off a loss against Douglas Silva D'Andrade. He beat Kali Taha, lost to Umar Nurmagomedov rather. Probably the A side here, but how old and how tall is this guy? This guy Morozov is 33 years old. He's 5'6".
Yep.
Wow.
It's 26 and 5'8". I'm gonna go with Haulian.
Probably, and I would think Haulian might be favored, although these Eastern Bloc guys are killers. I'm going to bet you that they're going to make him favorite of Morozov.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Haulian's live. I think this is a pick 'em. This could go either way. I don't know which way to lean here. I'm thinking probably Haulian, but these Eastern Bloc guys are beasts. Now, you know what I was thinking the other day, Adam?
What's that?
There's just a few dozen of these Eastern Bloc guys that have the same physical look. They're all shredded. They're all tough. They've all got a grappling background. However, people watching and listening, and Adam as well, have to know that if you went to their countries or to Khabib Nurmagomedov or the guys that were in that combat sambo, infrastructure and fight leagues back in the Eastern Bloc, a lot of them probably know who the really good ones are, who the kind of good ones are, and who the wink links are. Right? We don't know. But if you went to some of these guys that were there, like a Khabib Nurmagomedov, he could tell us. We could say, Khabib, I want you to tell me your thoughts on these 24 Eastern Bloc guys. I bet you he could say, this is a killer, not so much this guy. This guy's a killer, that guy's a killer, not so much this guy. This guy's trying, but it seems like he can't quite get it. These guys here are good, but never quite did, well. But we can't know unless somehow we can find records of combat sambo, but then it'd be hard to know because some of these names are so similar and you don't know what the hell's happening. But I think that would be cool. I would love to be able to go to someone that could actually shed some light on who the best of these guys are, and because then I think you can make really good money gambling, because I don't think our odds makers are finding that out. I don't think the odds makers know much more than you and I about who are the real killers of these guys based on what they did over in the Eastern Bloc in some small tournaments, several years ago. So that's something I think would be fun to know, but I don't think we will. But anyway, I'm thinking that that Sergey Morozov seeming like maybe not one of the absolute killers, but we'll see. Anyway,
Right.
this is a tough guy here, Nerdenbeka. I know that's how they pronounce it. Nerdenbeka Shyamalan, the Wolverine, 37-10, double-digit losses. Another one that's very unusual for the UFC, but I think he's got a good win streak. Actually, in the UFC, he's 1-1. Lost to Josh Kulabau, and Kulabau's a tough guy.
Let's see what.
And then he was over there in Russia and wherever else, right? And no, it wasn't. What country is Nerdenbeka from?
I think he is China.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I was thinking he was a Russian. So he's a tough guy, but not looking like a world beater. And but he's 1-1 in the UFC. And again, let's see who he went up against. He's got a lot of experience. That's
yeah,
for sure.
and I'm looking to see if there's anything besides these really obscures now.
No, he's really, So how old a guy is he for this many fights?
He's 28.
28. All right, and he's got what, 30 fights? 47 fights?
47 fights. Well, okay, in China,
a lot of action, a lot of activity. So T.J. Brown, let's look at T.J. Brown. Yeah, so and he beat Soriano and he lost to Kulabau. Okay, both by decision. All right, let's see the story on our guy T.J. Brown. T.J. Brown, Downtown Brown from Little Rock, Arkansas, 16-8, 32 years old, slightly older, a lot less experience, although 24 fights is pretty solid. He is actually 2-2 in the UFC. He lost his first two, and then with his back against the wall, like I was pointing out, right? He lost the first two to Jordan Griffith by technical submission, guillotine choke, which means he was choked unconscious, either refused to tap or didn't have time to tap. A lot of people wonder, a lot of people watching, not a lot, but some may wonder why that's not the case more often, where guys just don't tap and get choked unconscious. It's very unpleasant. It's not a good feeling. I personally haven't quite felt it, but you start getting there, and if you don't tap, then you're kind of going through something that's not that pleasant, but sometimes you just don't want to tap. Not really that great. It's not like being concussed with impact, but it is a little bit of a jolt to your brain when you're choked unconscious. Wouldn't recommend people messing around with doing it too much. But anyway, he did lose to Jordan Griffin and Danny Chavez. I think he lucked out with a split decision against Kai Kamaka the third. We've had Kai on the show.
I think we had Kai on right before that fight.
Yeah, that was wrong. Kai won that fight. Kai won that fight. And then he did beat Charles Rosa. How old is he? This man, he's like 32, so he's older and he's got less fights. I have no idea how to call this one. What's the odds? Close? It's got to be close. T.J. Brown, wow, substantial favorite. They're really not thinking much of the Chinese. Chinese fighters haven't been doing that well the last year or two.
Right.
They haven't in the pandemic. They really haven't.
Not in the UFC, anyways.
Yeah, not in the UFC. Anyway, I don't know. So probably T.J., but I wouldn't touch that fight. I can't find an advantage really in that fight, and neither guy has proven to be super high level, and it's harder to tell, in that fight. Anyway, going up next, we have an interesting one. Tefan and Chukwi against Israel Adesanya's training partner and teammate Carlos Ulberg. You want to look at the Tefan Don, right? Almost like a Teflon Don, John Gotti. We got the Tefan Don. So, and Chukwi is his record in the UFC is 2-2. He beat Jamie Pickett. You want to go there real quick? Let me take a look. He beat Jamie Pickett. He lost to Jun-Young Park by decision, so that actually could have gone his way. He beat slow Mike Rodriguez and then lost to Azamat Mirzakhanov by a flying knee. And how old is he and how big is he? 6 feet tall, a little bit short for the light heavyweight division. 27 years old, only got 8 fights, but he's only 27 years old. Ulberg is going to be, what, a full 5 inches taller than him. 6'4", the black jet. He's only got 5 fights, though. Together, these guys have, what, 13 fights?
Yeah, I know. That's kind of crazy, but you know what?
They're good. They got potential.
I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Look at these.
Yeah, the fight against Kennedy and Chukwu was a killer. That was such a great fight. Ulberg was in that fight, but we've interviewed Kennedy. He's a tough guy. He was so determined and on a good streak then and beat Ulberg. Ulberg came back with a good victory, I think just a few months ago.
Ulberg's one of the jacked ones here.
Yeah, he's in amazing shape, and he's got Israel Adesanya there helping him train. And so he's out of New Zealand, I believe. Am I right? Ulberg?
Yeah. City Kickboxing.
Yep, New Zealand. Yep. And then Chukwi is out of Africa, I think, isn't he? Somewhere.
Yeah, he's out of Cameroon.
Yeah, that's where Francis is from. I don't know if Francis knows him. Probably, maybe not personally, but This is probably Olberg. I mean, this is another one that's so hard to tell, but I think these guys are going to be banging. They both really could use a win.
Odds makers agree with you on that one.
Yep.
It's still pretty even.
Slight favorite.
This is actually on this card.
Slight favorite Olberg.
One of the closest ones.
Yeah.
There's one other closer, but
it's so hard to know. I'm thinking Olberg, though. I'm leaning
now
Olberg.
This next one, I'm wondering how you feel about it. I feel like it's the odds makers have it wrong. I think they're in the right direction, but I think they have it way wrong.
Okay.
So let's go over that one.
All right, and the one you're talking about is going to be the.
Oh, that's not this one.
Well, that one's big too. We can do that one. Let's do that one too. Let's do that one.
Okay, let's do this one.
The
first.
World Jiu-Jitsu Champion, high-level black belt, Rodolfo Vieira. I think he's 4-1 in the UFC, or maybe 5-1. Take a look. 3-1. 3-1. So his problem is that he's a super muscular guy, really muscular guy for his height, and he really didn't have hands, didn't have the best wrestling game, and would gas, and was all jiu-jitsu. It worked for his first two fights in the UFC, and then he went up against, I think, the man they call Fluffy, isn't it? Hernandez Fluffy or something like that. Antonio Hernandez, the guy that beat him.
Anthony Hernandez.
Let's see if he's Fluffy. I think they call him Fluffy. I'm not sure. Yeah. Yep. So Fluffy would not get submitted, kept avoiding the submissions. He gassed out the big man and then choked him when Vieira had already been pieced up by Fluffy's hands and was exhausted. However, Rodolfo Vieira came back 5 months later and looked like a new man. His gas tank was great. His hands were improved. Wrestling improved a bit, and he looked really good. And so Chris Curtis. Now, Chris Curtis is a striker. However, he's short, 5'10", 185. That's a short middleweight. He's on a killing streak. Look at this, 2-0 in the UFC, but he's on a 7-fight win streak. And both of his.
But look at the organizations.
Yeah, that's true. Not big organizations, but he's on a 7-fight win streak, 2-0 in the UFC. He stopped Phil Hawes and Brendan Allen. I'm telling you, these two guys both just came off wins. Allen and Hawes. These are tough guys to stop. I will tell you. Chris Curtis is a beast, but let me look
at the PFL losses that he has. I mean, those are two of them are actually
very tough. Ray Cooper won the $1 million. He was a guest on our show,
yeah, and
then he won the $1 million this last season. Ray Cooper III is a killer. So this is a tough guy. How old is Chris Curtis? Is he in his 30s now?
34.
34. So he's a short for the division fighter, but he's got dynamite in his hands. He's got a load of confidence. The action man out of Team Vision, it says, but it's probably somewhere else. But he's out of the Midwest, Cincinnati, Ohio, and he's 5'10". Yeah, 5'10". How tall is Vieira? Vieira's 6 feet even, I think.
5'11".
5'11". So these are two short, stocky middleweights, both much shorter than the average middleweight. Man, this is like an old school matchup, striker against grappler. If Curtis can keep this fight on the feet, he can knock the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion the fuck out, without a doubt. But if Rodolfo Vieira gets on top of Chris Curtis, don't know that Curtis is going to be able to handle it like Fluffy Hernandez did, and that was before we got Rodolfo Vieira 2.0. This is a scary fight. This could go either way. I imagine they have Curtis a slight favorite, and they do.
Slight, but barely.
Yeah, slightly. Slight favorite to Chris Curtis. You know, man, I mean, this could be fun to live bet this fight. You know what I mean? Because it could start going one way, but if the guy who's losing that first round makes it to the next round, he could go ahead and keep it in his world in the next round. So that's going to be an interesting fight. I don't know. I love the jiu-jitsu, but I love a stocky, shorter fighter. You know, because I've never been a professional fighter, but I've never been a tall guy, so I kind of sometimes love these guys that are 5'10", 5'11", under 6 feet fighters. Sometimes cheer for them, say it's not all about height,
right?
You know, which it isn't. Anyway, so that's a tough one. I can't pick on that one. I just don't. It could go either way, don't you think, Adam?
Yeah, I'm not picking. Oh,
all right, Nathan Manis and Umar Nurmagomedov. This is tough. Let's look at Madness first. I picked him to win a fight that most people did not believe in him, and I forget who that was, but wow, 14-1, and in the UFC,
it was against Munoz.
3-1. You know what? He beat Tony Gravely. I remember that fight. Tony's been on a 2-fight win streak since then. Killer, what, 3-0 in the UFC, 2 inside the distance. Madness is a tough dude. This guy is rugged and tough. How old is he and how many fights? Can we look real quick? So he's got 15 fights. He's 30 years old at bantamweight. You know, not a bad age to be in the middle of his prime. And how many fights? 15 fights? 14-1.
Yeah.
Let's look at Umar Nurmagomedov. Umar is closely related to Khabib. 14-0. Wow, against 14-1. How old is he? 26 or 36? No, he's not 36.
26.
26, yeah. And he is shown at 145. I wonder what weight class this is. As Madness, it shows at 35. This reference site sometimes does that. It's almost like they don't want you to have a hint what the hell's going on.
Well, it'll tell us here. Look here. It's at lightweight. Or no, it's not.
No, that's
lightweight.
the main event.
Yeah,
the main event.
Bantamweight.
Oh, is it? It's a bantamweight. Okay. And you know what? I think Umar has been fighting at featherweight, and Umar has been smashing. As I think he's either Khabib's brother or his cousin. In fact, I know he's one of the two. I'm almost positive. Oh, this is rough. You got an absolute killer, undefeated Eastern Bloc guy with the last name Nurmagomedov, who is related to Khabib. I really think he's his little brother. And you're going to see Khabib, the Eagle Nurmagomedov, in his corner. And he's going up against a rugged dude. Where's Madness from? Is Madness British? No, I think he's American.
He's American. He's from Kentucky.
Yeah. This is going to be a rough country boy who probably was at least a D2 wrestler and all-state in high school and just a tough son of a bitch.
Yeah, he's got some good wins under his belt. I'm going to tell you this. So this one, I was wanting to talk about this one.
Yeah.
Because look at this.
See the odds.
They have it way off.
What the freaking... What?
I am going on Nathan on this just because of how far that is.
That's just stupid.
It doesn't make any sense.
They're thinking, what do they think? Nathan could completely gonna turtle up and say, beat me down,
that's
please?
how they see it. The odds makers right now, they got it wrong.
Yeah, no. I mean, it doesn't mean that Umar Nurmagomedov can't win.
No, I think he can, but this has got to be a lot closer in reality.
I mean, why do they? Yeah, man, I mean, literally, I can't see. They have this as 7-1. It looks like because you got to lay minus 900 on Nurmagomedov for the win to win $100, and if you lay 100, you're getting $500 to $600 back on Madness. In all honesty, the only way I'd make the odds like that is if I knew somehow Madness was injured or somehow we found out personally he's terrified of this fighter, which I highly doubt when you're at the UFC level. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, almost every time when there's a mashup like this with this overlay, we're usually right. And it's not just me and you, Adam. A lot of the other handicappers will look at this and say, no, that's wrong. You know, and so I think that's the case. Is it possible, though? I mean, these odds would imply that either Nurmagomedov is going to win each round by like 10-8 or 10-7, or that he's just going to get Madness the fuck out of there immediately. And no, I don't see either one. I think Madness is live. Madness could win this fight.
Yeah. I'm just going to throw 50 on it.
Why not? Nathan Madness, he's live. Dog
it's
or pass.
Good small amount and keep under having the claim if I win. So hey,
yeah, I mean, how do you take a 14-1 guy who's on like a 5-fight win streak, beating some serious badasses, and you give him no chance? I don't know. I guess the Nurmagomedov name. I mean, and remember, it's not like he's fighting Khabib Nurmagomedov here. Umar is not yet Khabib. So this is, if it was Khabib, then A, it'd be a different weight division, and B, then you could do that. But no, I don't think so. Anyway, next up is an interesting fight. And how are we time-wise? We're good. It's 7:15 now? 7:18?
7:16.
7:16. Yeah, we're good. So who are we looking at? We got
Thiago Moises.
Moises against Christian Giagos.
Christos
Giagos. Sorry, Christian. What the hell I'm saying? Giagos, tough guy. Always loved he's originally from Greece with that name, the Spartan, right? And rough guy. We've never had him on the show, but he's a tough guy. He was on a good streak. He was what, 3? He was actually he's 2-2 in the he's 4-2 in the UFC now. Actually, or is there a UFC fight before that? 4-3. So he's 4-3 in the UFC. He loses 1, wins 2. loses 1, wins 2, and then loses 1.
Yeah, but look who he lost to. His very first fight in the UFC.
Right. Charles Oliveira. Man, how much more could you be thrown to the dogs than that? Not only that, but if you have a fight record where you've had 7 fights, and out of your 3 losses, 1 was to Charles Oliveira, the other was to Arman Sarukian, you're not doing too bad. Those guys, I mean, Oliveira we know, but for those of you who don't know, Arman Sarukian is fighting this Saturday. The guy is a beast. So, and now we're looking at his opponent here, right?
Yep.
And his opponent went up against Islam Makhachev, and went 4 rounds with Islam. In fact, I remember that. You know what, though? Here's a strange thing. Thiago Moises goes 4 rounds, making it tough for Islam Makhachev, and then just 6 months later gets annihilated by Joel Alvarez. And then Alvarez gets smashed, I think, by...
I mean, Moises no slouch, though. I mean, he's Michael Johnson, Bobby Green, Alex Hernandez.
Kurt Hollabaugh. He did lose to Beneil, but he went the decision with Beneil. In fact, that was his first fight. They threw him Beneil Dariush for his UFC debut, and he hung in there with the distance. Beneil is a great guy and a friend of the show. Hopefully, we'll be having him on in a few months for an interview, too. It's been a little while, and but we always love talking to Beneil. He's an amazing guy. This is an interesting fight. So both guys are rugged. How old are they both, and how tall are they both? Sorry. 27. Moises is 27 and is 5'9", and Giagos is 32 and he's 5'10". 19-9, 28 fights. So we have 19-9 against, what's Moises' record?
15-6.
15-6. So more experienced slightly by Giagos, and he's also a little bit older. I'm leaning Giagos a little bit, but man, it's like these are some tough, close.
I'm going with Moises on this one. I agree with the odds makers.
Wow, the odds makers have it like 2.5 to 1. Moises. No, I'll go for the dog. I'll tell you what.
All right.
I don't want to.
That's your dog pick.
And Moises could win. Moises really could win. He probably should. He's the younger man, and possibly has looked a little bit more talented. Although just that Alvarez fight.
That's what I'm going off of. I think he's just a cleaner fighter.
It's hard to get that Alvarez fight out of my. How do you just get smashed though?
I mean, it happens. If your head isn't there,
yeah, it is possible. He's a young man, but there could be a maturity factor. We'll see. Because Giagos, excuse me, I'll have a cramp in my mouth. Giagos is a very mature, composed fighter, and I think that could be a difference here. But we'll see. All right, next, real quick. Not too much time on this one. Alan Baudot is from. You want to click on Baudot? Is from France. And he in the UFC. Oh, now you got Josh Parisian. Okay, why don't we start with Josh? Want to start back to
Alan.
Back to Alan. Okay, Baudot did lose to Parker Porter. He's the Black Samurai, and he did lose to Parker Porter. And then he had a no contest against Rodrigo Nascimento. He got annihilated by Tom Aspinall, but so has everyone.
I remember.
So he's one no contest and 2 losses in the UFC. Josh Parisian's a tough dude. We've interviewed Josh. He's a really cool dude.
14-5 and
1-2 in the UFC.
Yeah.
They both need a win here. I'm not sure how this fight merits being a co-main event. Is it a co-main or the co-main? Yeah, I no disrespect, but I'm not sure how this fight merits being the co-main. I don't know. Anyway, though, people like to see the big boys. This fight could go either way. I think Parisian, but there's
no point in even trying to pick that one.
Yeah, you just throw something up in the air and flip a coin. Anyway, here we have the co-main event. Look at that man, 15-0. The man from, is it Kazakhstan?
There is.
Yes, Shavkat Rakhmonov, the Nomad. How much more ripped can you get than that guy and shredded? This is a beast.
I mean, what's his face from earlier?
You're right. Look at how many stoppages this kid has.
Hey, wow.
No, I don't think anyone goes the distance with this guy. Does he have 15 stoppages out of 15 wins?
Sure does.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yikes. 27 years old.
0 decisions.
Yikes.
Wow. 27 years old.
And it's scary. Divided 7 subs and 8 knockouts.
That is scary.
Yeah.
3 wins in a row coming straight into the UFC.
Wow.
Beating Alex Oliveira.
Wow, Oliveira, Michel Prazeres, who is a tough guy, and Carlston Harris. These are tough guys. Yikes. Yeah, this guy's for real. People are talking about this guy. Our friend James Lynch just did a good interview with him. So if you guys want to look for a great interview,
another one that's real too is Neil Magny. Everybody's talking about him.
Talk about more experience though. Magny is 34, so he's older. I think Shavkat's 6 feet, or is he 6'1"? Can you look real quick? Not that it matters that much. 6'1". Wow. Magny is still taller though. Magny's got 2 inches in height. He's 7 years older. He's got double the fights. What's he done lately? This is going to tell the story here. So there we go. Wow. Okay. So Magny, we know, has been in there for years. I think he's something like 10-4 in the UFC or whatever. But let's just start with Ponzinibbio. He did lose to Ponzinibbio back when Ponzinibbio was on fire in 2018. He came back with 3 impressive victories, beating Li Jinglang, the Leech, who was actually doing very well at that point. Anthony Rocco Martin, who is a tough fighter, and Robbie Lawler. He did lose a close fight, just getting out-wrestled by Michael Chiesa, and he's come back with 2 good wins. Jeff Neal was a close fight. He got the victory. I felt our friend of the show, Max Griffin, beat him. I felt Max beat him 2 rounds out of 3. It was a close fight, but Magny came back. Magny is such a tough, conditioned, unorthodox, tricky guy. They're gonna, oh, look at that. They're not even giving Magny a chance.
I disagree with this one.
I disagree with that too.
This is another one. Oh man. Oh, this card is
some overlays. It's got a couple of major overlays. Imagine if we parlayed Neil Magny with, who's the one
Chris
down?
Giagos and Nate Maness. Those are the ones.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You could parlay all 3 of them, but especially if you parlayed Magny with Nate Maness. And they both came in. What did they pay? Like $20 for $1. So $2,000 for a $100 bet, maybe, or give or take somewhere around.
I'm doing it.
Why not? Screw it. Nate, you know, let's look back at Shavkat really quick. Let's see how good and how experienced these guys were that he beat. Or let's go. Okay, so Shavkat. Okay, so Shavkat beat Carlston Harris. I mean, he's tough. Michel Prazeres is tough, but was past his prime. Cowboy Oliveira was past his prime. Or any of these other names before that, and he was in M1. There were tough guys there. So you know what? This is a jump up in class.
That's what I'm saying.
This is a jump up in class. Yeah, because I'll tell you what.
That doesn't make sense to me.
No, Neil Magny is going to have respect for the man from Kazakhstan, but he's going to say, "Come here, man. You want to fight someone that fights? Jump up into my league, kid. You're jumping up. Jump on this. You know, I'm not."
So we have 1 minute for this next one. Let's jump on it.
Oh, this is a great fight. Yikes! 20-1, Mateus Gamrot. 18-2, Arman Sarukian. Gamrot is out of, where is he from? Poland. Very tough. 20-1 in the UFC. The gamer is, what's his record in the UFC? In the UFC, the gamer Mateus Gamrot is 3-1. He did lose to Guram Kutateladze, by a split. So he could be 4-0, and if he had won that, he would have continued and be on like a 10-fight win streak. And Guram Kutateladze won that fight. I don't care. All respect to Ismagulov. This last Saturday, Guram Kutateladze won. And I know that Merab, who's a countryman of his, Merab Davalishvili, said that you won. A lot of people, and I felt that the Georgian won that fight there too. So Mateus Gamrot is a beast. But wow, Arman Sarukian is legit as fuck. Arman Sarukian.
I'm a fan of Sarukian.
Yeah, he just beat the brakes off of Joel Alvarez. He beat the brakes off of Christoph. He did struggle a little bit with Frivola, but Frivola's super experienced.
That was still a clear win.
And yeah, he beat up Davi Hamos. He knocked Olivier Aubin-Mercier, and look who gave Islam Makhachev everything he could handle. That fight was a
rounds,
war. And that was the first fight for Arman in the UFC. They give him Islam Makhachev in his first fight, and he's like, "Come on, big man, let's do it." It was a clash. Yeah, I'm a believer. Arman Sarukian, this is gonna be iron. This is gonna be the immovable object versus the irresistible force. These are 2 Eastern Bloc rugged son of a bitches. These are 2 absolute beasts, and they do have my man Sarukian favored almost 3-1. Oh, you want to, as a gambler, you want to find the dog in a situation like that. So I'm going to throw this out there. There's value in Gamrot because it's
I'm not going on that one because I'm literally the only thing I'm going to go ahead and make that $50. I'm going to flip it with Nate and Neil.
Right. You're not even going to touch this main. I mean, you know what I would say? I think I think almost like this is a 5-round fight. The question is, are one of these guys going to gas out because they're not used to going 5, or are they both going to be so competitive that they're going to just keep holding each other off, and you might want to bet the over? I think this fight is going to go over 1.5 rounds for sure, but there's not much money to be made there. But will it go over 2.5 rounds? Do you think this fight, scheduled for 5, will go into the 3rd round, Adam, or not?
Yes.
I think it will too. And but I'm so high on Sarukian, but this fight should be closer. Don't you think it's a little bit of an overlay? It should, yeah. They're not giving Gamrot. How do you make a guy who's 20-1 make him a 3-1 dog? That's just a little bit odd, but I understand Sarukian's impressive. But this is gonna be a fight. Don't sleep on this fight. Don't miss this fight. Don't fall asleep early. These guys are gonna beat the fuck out of each other. All right, whenever you're ready, let's get our guest on. Love to get his opinion on some of these fights too. So if you wouldn't mind, I know you might have some stuff to do, Adam, but if you could stay a little bit, we can get Tony's opinion. That would be awesome.
He's not online. I'm trying to call him right now.
Oops. All right.
It says Tony isn't online.
Ooh, that's not good because he did.
There he is.
Yep, beautiful.
He's online. Let me call him now.
And maybe pull his file up too, possibly, if you could. Beautiful. All right. You see him online, but he's not answering. Huh?
But he's not answering.
Okay, so let him, because he did confirm today. Hey, Tony, we're trying to Skype call you, and it looks like you're online, but you weren't answering. Could you try to Skype call us if you're there? Question mark. Right. All right. I know we're gonna get him on. I believe with all my heart. I believe it with all my heart.
All our hearts.
So what? You know what? Because I remember we had a problem with Chris Lytle where we were calling, but he just couldn't pick it up, and it was graying out the telephone, so he couldn't call us. And I think we learned, based on your expertise, Doc, that probably means that he hadn't updated his Skype or used it possibly for a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be the situation here. I hope it's not, because if it is, then how quickly could someone update their Skype? That would probably take, what, 5-10 minutes or something?
Not even.
Oh, not even?
3 minutes.
All right. So, because you know what? It seems like we're a show, I think, in all credit, not to try to blow up Dr. Adam Roorda's head or ego, because I think he's one of the more knowledgeable guys here.
There he is.
Yeah, all right, let's do it. Tony, can you hear me? Tony Gravely, can you hear me?
You've got yourself muted there, Tony.
Tony, yeah, if you're talking, you're muted. If you could unmute, we'll be able to hear you.
You'll want to hit both the microphone and the camera button.
Right. So if you could hit the microphone and the camera button, Tony, I'm not sure. Oop. And he called us that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's positive. That's a positive sign. You want to try to call him back?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, I was saying Dr. Adam Roorda knows live streaming a lot better than a lot of people. And Skype is probably one of the best to use, although some people have a hard time with it, but it's great for live streaming.
It's easy to use.
Yep. Looks like he's trying to send me something he's trying to send me something here, and he's been logging on, but for some reason it shows where he keeps missing our call but isn't giving him a way to answer. He said he's going to try it on his iPad. What do you think that could be? If is it probably that update thing like it was with Chris?
No.
What could it be that would be not allowing him to answer the call, and he keeps on saying missed call?
It's just not going through. It needs updated.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey guys, set your apps for auto update unless it's one that is known for glitching all the time. I'm just gonna say that Microsoft app, you always want to make sure you have it on auto update.
All right. Exactly.
This is everybody out there. Microsoft is one of the safe ones. To date, anyways. Now I
Yeah.
say that, and Microsoft's probably going to have a major hack, and
Yeah, right.
don't hold me liable.
No, does Microsoft still put a lot of their software free on PCs, or did they stop doing that a while back? Because I got my computer about 3 or 4 years ago, and it seems like they want to charge me.
Windows is built on it, but if you want like Word and stuff like that, you
Yeah.
have to pay the subscription fees. Yeah.
What the hell? That used to be free, didn't it?
No, it was never free. It was just one of the bundles that they would do, and sometimes they still have bundles
Right.
that include a subscription for like a year, which isn't bad.
Otherwise, you just have WordPad, which kind of sucks.
I mean, that's what Word was. That was free on all the other stuff before, so it
Is
doesn't
it?
really suck that much.
Yeah, but you can't really do any editing on WordPad, I don't think, or changing. I don't know. I just I can't. You could probably figure it out, but I guess.
I mean, it's the original Word.
I guess Bill Gates needs extra money. He's not wealthy enough. You know. You know what? You know what's funny? You know what I was thinking of, and hopefully we're just trying to get with Tony. For Bill Gates to be thinking that he's going to suggest like different treatments for viruses, or he's going to create this or that. He might as well recreate a Saturday Night Live sketch from the 70s. I love classic TV, where Al Franken had a desire. I think it was Al Franken or someone else. I forget, another funny guy, to be a doctor just for a day without any training.
Right.
To just go in there and you have another doctor supervising you, but you do the surgery, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was hilarious. It was really a funny
Right.
sketch. But yeah, next thing Bill Gates is going to say is he wants to do surgery. He'll just go in there and make sure he has people supervising him.
We'll see if this works. I closed out and opened it back up. Sometimes that changes it.
Let's see. Let him know.
Hey,
We're Skype calling you now. Can you see it? Or can you get it? Question mark?
We're trying on both ends here. If we need to, there he is.
Hey, Tony, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome. I appreciate it. All we need to do is hit that camera icon that looks like an old movie camera, and then we'll have video, and then we will be good to go, and then we will be perfect. Excellent. Appreciate you, man. You're not going to be able to see us, but if you can see yourself on frame, you're perfect, and I appreciate it. So we're live. Tony, let me give you a proper introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, so happy to have this next guest back on the show. This is a red-hot UFC bantamweight fighter coming off an amazing win a week ago Saturday, Mr. Tony Gravely. And I did not blow that name, did I, Tony?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you having me back on.
My pleasure. Man, I tell you, this was a good fight and a big fight. And if Dr. Adam Roorda, my producer, can scroll up. So, Johnny Munoz Jr. Now, you came off a good win over Simon Oliveira. And you were looking good before this fight already with a 3-2 record in the UFC. I think. Go down, Doc, and see if I'm wrong. Nope, I was right. And the Dana White Contender Series. But this fight, I think, was an important fight. And I remember breaking it down with Dr. Adam Roorda. I broke it down with another guy that I sometimes break some stuff down with. And I'm talking to some friends, and I'm looking. And I even watched a couple other guys' podcasts. And I said to myself, man, Tony is a likable guy, but he's also a talented fighter. And I said, I'm telling you, I'm feeling Tony Gravely here. And some people were picking you, but other people were saying, no, Munoz is too good. He's too good. Tony won't be able to handle those hands. And Munoz is going to shut down Tony's wrestling. And Tony's going to be left wondering what he's supposed to do in the cage. And I'm like, yeah, all right. Did you hear any of this? Or do you ever jump online? Were you hearing that, or do you try not to hear that, or what would be your thought if you had heard that, or were you actually hearing it?
I heard some of it, and usually when I hear it, it's from like my mom, because my mom gets really into it all, and listening to my interviews and my opponent's interviews, and then sometimes my wife, she gets on Reddit and she'll see some stuff. And honestly, man, it's one of those things where it's like it can be annoying at times, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. It's somebody's opinion of you, and either way, it doesn't determine the outcome. Like when I see stuff like that, I think it's funny because I'm like, I have no clue where these guys are getting this from.
Right.
I'm just completely clueless as to like what they're seeing, but I'm just like, I mean, either way, I'm about to like prove them wrong. So
Absolutely.
But that's usually my approach on it.
Absolutely, and you do seem like an easygoing guy, and it's ironic because I think a lot of people think that how can a fighter be an easygoing guy who fights for a living, who's in there in a high stress atmosphere where you're grinding, wrestling every day or most every day, and you're doing jujitsu and you're throwing strikes and you're doing all this painful stuff, and then you got to do a high pressure thing for a living, and you got your health and everything online. So a lot of people will say, how can a guy like that be an easygoing guy? But I think there are several, and I think it doesn't mean that the easygoing guy is not an intense warrior, but I think it means that you're kind of able to embrace Bruce Lee's philosophy a bit, which is if you're going to be tense all the time and angry all the time and feeling like you're just constantly wanting to knock someone's head off, you're not really going to be that effective. You're right. And I mean, tell me, because you do seem like an easygoing guy. How do you kind of contrast that with all the pain and stuff you have to endure? And is it something kind of like Bruce Lee was saying, that you see the benefit in being relaxed and easygoing and upbeat?
I mean, the way I see it is, the way I try to see it is when I'm in the gym, I'm relaxed. You know, when I'm training with my partners and my buddies, and when I'm at my best in the gym, I'm relaxed and I'm having a good time. And I'm trying to learn, trying to implement everything that I practice. So when I think about fighting and I think about the actual competing part, it's the same way. I try to what I aim to do is duplicate my best practice session, my best sparring sessions in the fight. And so by doing that, specifically this fight, I was probably the most calm I'd ever been going out. Just thinking about, trying not to load up on my punches and just making sure that I was in it mentally. And, for the first time in a while, maybe even in my entire career, I was actually like in the zone at the time, right in the fight. I was usually you kind of it's almost like your mind leaves your body and you are on kind of like autopilot.
Like very instinctive, right?
Yeah. So this time it was just like practice. I was in there. I could hear everything, could hear the commentary, could hear my coaches, could hear his coaches. And, it was really, really cool to be able to like kind of everything come together all at once and it work out, So, but as far as life goes, I mean, the way I see it is, I'm every day I'm fighting, I'm putting my body through this stress. So when I'm not fighting, I want to be as chill as I can, and I'm a pretty laid back guy anyway, but, I do my best to, I feel like it kind of runs in my family as far as my dad and my parents, and, they're really laid back. And I think that demeanor just kind of rubbed off on me.
I like that. Would you say that maybe 50% of high-level MMA fighters have that kind of chill, laid-back attitude, or would you say it's a lot less than that? Or I know it's kind of hard to qualify or quantify, but what would you say if forced? What percentage of high-level MMA fighters that you've met have a personality kind of like yours, and what percent are more like constantly mad? Like it seems like Diaz brothers in a bad mood most of the time, although Nate does have some fun. But you got some other guys like Nick Diaz and other guys who look like they're either depressed or angry, one of the two.
Mm-hmm. I think honestly, it's a little bit, it's pretty close down the middle. And then you have the guys that, they kind of put on a show for the, to get, noticed and to get fans interested in, they kind of sell the fight in a way with things like that. So some people are laid back. Some people are they have to treat it like personal, like the person did something bad to them. And then there's also, guys that they, it's just part of selling the fight, so.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of this last fight against Munoz, was this fight more important than the others in your mind? Like, do you, I mean, obviously it's a different event is going to mean something different to most people. So I guess no one can say every single fight is equally as important. Although I think I've heard fighters kind of try to say they are, especially at the UFC level. But did you feel like this fight was maybe a little bit more important, and beating an opponent like this where the odds were pretty close and a bunch of people were saying that this other guy, could beat you, did you kind of feel that, or what was your mindset about this specific fight and how it mattered in terms of your career as compared to other fights in the UFC?
I mean, honestly, I think every current fight is the most important fight. It could be your last fight.
Yeah.
It could be the fight that skyrockets your career. It could be the fight that ends your career. You don't know. So every fight is just as important to me. I fight with the same amount of will to win and wanting to do the best that I can possibly do every single time, because I know that I know how the sport is. It can be brutal, it can be great, it can be ever in between. So that's the way I approach it.
Absolutely. What did Johnny Munoz have compared to what you, or didn't have, both compared to what you expected? Because like I was saying, odds makers had it close. A lot of people were kind of putting the two of you together as really up and coming fighters that both had a lot of skills. Do you watch film? And if you do, or even if you don't, what were your expectations about this opponent, and then how did he feel in the cage?
I knew he was going to be a great grappler. I was supposed to fight him. I was scheduled to fight him, I think it maybe 3 years ago at King of the Cage in California.
Oh wow!
And I think it was, I forgot where it was at, but it was a pretty big King of the Cage event. It may have been close to Anaheim actually, but we were supposed to fight there, and something happened. I was told that he had injured his knee or something like that, and so the fight never happened. But so I kind of had noticed him and watched him a little bit, and then I watch a lot of fights. I watch all kinds of fights, King of the Cage, LFA, everything.
Awesome.
So I already kind of seen seen some of his fights, and then in the UFC, obviously I'd seen some of his fights because I watch every UFC event. So he's obviously somebody I've seen a good amount of his fights, and obviously he's a really good grappler. A longer guy, a lot longer than me, and I think a lot of people, that seems to be the case a lot of times. Everyone's longer than me. So, right. But that's something that obviously the shorter guy, and I know how to make it work. So, but I guess that's what people are seeing: the fact that he's good at jiu-jitsu, the fact that I had had a couple of submission losses. But what people don't realize is that was in the past. That was before I was able to move to ATT and have the ability to roll with a lot of guys that are really good in areas that I struggled in. And now, everything that wasn't so good is getting really good. So I'm a lot more well-rounded than I used to be. So the times of getting submitted are over.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's a good attitude, and it makes sense. And then, did he feel weaker than you expected, stronger, right about what you thought, better striking, worse striking, hit harder, not hit as hard, wrestling as good, not as good?
Honestly, I don't know, because the first thing I landed was the uppercut, and then
that's true.
He went limp. So I honestly didn't know. I knew that he would try to keep distance and be on the outside. But I knew once you pressure him on the cage, he had to shoot. So the closer we got to the cage, and the closer he started to, the more he started to kind of get backed up, I just started throwing my hands, and just happened the last punch I threw, he just happened to dip down right when I was releasing my last punch, and it was one of the things that maybe a little bit of luck, a little bit of timing, a little bit of preparation. So. I'm just either way. I'm just happy that it worked out the way it did. Absolutely.
Forgive me for not remembering how quick it was. Sometimes a week after, I watched this whole last Saturday's UFC card, and I'm getting old a little bit, so forgive me for forgetting that it went so quick. You really couldn't comment on too much of that, But yeah, I was really happy. I mean, I'll tell you this, Tony. when we have a fighter from the UFC, and even though we're UFC credentialed and PFL and one championship and Bellator, even though we've had world champions from the UFC active in the past, UFC Hall of Famers, I'm still super grateful. I'm grateful as hell when a UFC fighter comes on my show. And so I know you're not my personal good friend that I can call up and say, hey, Tony, let's hang. Or, hey, Tony, can you lend me $200? I know we're not like that. But when someone comes on my show like you have, and you're a really friendly, genuine, sincere person, like, I cheer for you. Because I feel like, you know what? I can't say this is my best friend in the world. I can't say he would recognize me walking down the street, but we've chatted, we've chopped it up, and I like this guy. And so I saw your name in that matchup, and I said, man, Tony Gravely is a cool dude and a nice guy. And this was a tough matchup. And I remember saying to myself, damn, man, I mean, this is a big matchup. So for me, I was nervous because I said, this is a matchup of two guys that are tough. And I said, man, if Tony gets this win, this is going to be really good. This is going to make a statement. This is going to shut up a lot of doubters. And it's going to, I think, even have the promoters and Dana take even more notice of you. And I remember saying, man, I hope Tony wins. Man, I hope Tony wins. And even my producer was like, yeah, man, I hope Tony wins. I hope Tony. I'm like, Tony's going to win this fight. And when you won it, man, it was a good feeling. Just got to tell you. I was like, yes. I was like,
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. That means a lot.
You're welcome. Well, yeah, absolutely. And you deserve it. And it's just, that was a really good feeling. And it also, I know not every handicapper always picks things right, but I was thinking of all those guys that were putting on their shows. Tony's not going to be able to this, not going to be able to play. Love to have seen their face because they were probably like, or not.
I know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know, so I think this got you some respect, and I think people are going to be not as quick to doubt Tony Gravely in the future, because that was awesome. And I'll tell you what, the man you beat is tough, man. He might still be around. He probably's got something for a bunch of other people, just not you. You know, and I'm saying that, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I think that guy's probably not going to give up and call it a career. He's got some skills, don't you think?
You mean Johnny Munoz?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You know, I've got nothing but respect for him. He's a great fighter, you know, and he's a very talented grappler. You know, much better jiu-jitsu for jiu-jitsu for jiu-jitsu. He, you know, hands down is a better jiu-jitsu guy than I am. You know, and I had to respect that. You know, going into a fight, you got to respect the fact that you know, you get like a spider monkey on your back. It's hard to get up. You know, so you know, I definitely, you know, that was something I definitely practiced the most because I knew that was where he was most dangerous. So, you know, with that being said, I think he's, you know, if he's a fighter, you know, if he's a UFC caliber, like, you know, the rest of us, then he's only going to learn from it and come back and become a better fighter.
Absolutely. I like that respect element, and a lot of you fighters have that in the UFC, not all, but a lot, and I like that you do. And yeah, and that's a cool thing, man, because it's not about trying to ruin someone's life. It's not about trying to damage someone permanently. You know, it's just, it is a sport, and it's a combat sport and a rough sport, but we have people that are true sportsmen and martial artists like yourself. And I think people are embracing wrestlers as that, and for a while they didn't, but I think a lot of wrestlers have a lot of respect for their competitors, and you know, I know you do. So I would imagine, since you fought a week from Saturday, there's not even any thought of a fight coming up, or is there? And not only that, but a lot of people don't know that even if you're in the cage for 2 minutes in the UFC, it doesn't mean you have no injuries. You could twist your knee, you could twist your ankle, you could pull a hamstring, you could tear something. It's tough, it's rough, it's violent in there. Did you come out relatively okay, may I ask? Or if it's a secret, you don't have to answer.
Yeah, I came out great, man. Untouched pretty much. I mean, very fortunate because a lot of guys don't do that. You know? So
it's rare,
especially at this level. You know. Yeah. So, you know, for one to come out there as quick as that, and then two, you know, not have anything hurt is great. So I don't have anything, not hurt anything, but I would like to, you know, get back in the cage sometime soon. You know, I'm in good shape, and I took the week off, the week after the fight, and then been back in the gym and easing back into it. And I still feel like I'm, you know, just as good a shape as I was when I fought. So I'm only building off of what, you know, what I already had, you know, started to progress in, and I'm just trying to keep it going.
Absolutely. What would be an ideal time for you to come back if you were given your choice? If they said, Tony, we like what you did so much in that fight. You want to come back and fight in July? You want August? You want September? What would be your preference?
There was the July 30th card in Texas. My teammate Alexandre Pantoja is fighting there already, and I've been sparring with him a lot to prepare him for his fight. So, I wouldn't hate the idea of being able to do that if that was a thing. But I was told that card's pretty full, which I understand because it's a pay-per-view, so it's it's probably stacked. They probably filled that thing up a while ago, so. But that would have been great. But other than that, I mean, August, September, like I said, I'm fine. I don't have to cut a ton of weight. I still feel really good. Still, I feel like I'm in fight shape. So, whenever.
Awesome. Remind me again, who is Pantoja fighting?
I think he's fighting. Is it Alex Perez?
I think it is.
Alex Perez.
That's a good fight. Perez was over there with Team Oyama, and he may have moved on. I don't think so, though, but he was doing a lot of training with Marlon Vera, Chito Vera, who is a tough guy as well. So that would be interesting. And let me see. I think we got about 8 or 9 minutes left, I think. And there's so much I want to ask you, man. There's never enough time, especially with someone that I like and respect like yourself, man. But I'm going to try to fit it in. So let me throw some rapid fire questions at you, okay?
Okay.
So first, and then I'm going to come back and get your opinion on some of the fights coming up this Saturday for sure, especially since you mentioned that you watch all the UFC cards and you're really a student of the game. I respect that a lot. And I know some fighters are and some aren't. I think it's a good thing to be, but it is what it is, But real quick, who are some of the people along with Pantoja that help you when you are at the ATT in Coconut Creek, the main ATT?
Coconut Creek.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Who are some of the people that helped you with that last camp and they usually give you some good looks over there?
So honestly, there's so many people and so many different training sessions. We have pro classes where everybody goes, and that's earlier in the day, and then we have our own, everybody in the afternoon comes back with different coaches and who they work with. So I get to work with a lot of different people, which is really good because that's why I moved here, to be able to work with so many good people. So throughout these trainings, I get to pretty much work with everybody. A lot of the guys that I work with, that I drill with, Sergey Morozov, he fights this weekend, actually.
That's right. Yep.
Zalgas Zumagulov, he actually fought the same night I did. Both those guys are from Kazakhstan.
Very tough guy.
And every time they come in, I usually drill with Sergey a lot, really. Let's see, also in those drill-ins. I have my main group of guys that I always work out with are guys that aren't even in the UFC. Just a bunch of hardworking guys that are, trying to make their way to the top, the same way I did. And these guys are Sal Guerrero, Jason Eastman, Mauricio Gomez, Juan Puerta, who should be in the UFC, which I don't understand why he's not. And I also got named Victor Diaz, who also should be in the UFC. Both are flyweights that are really good. Both these guys could be ranked right now. So,
nice.
Between that, Pantoja, and then when we go on the mat, for normal days of like a wrestling day, for example, where a lot of people are there, a grappling day, Danny Sabatello, Marlon Moraes, Adriano Moraes. So, I mean, literally like Kyoji Horiguchi.
Killers.
A lot of guys. Like I could literally just name everybody in the gym, and it would be somebody that, was going to give me a hard go.
Absolutely. You still got Steve Moko doing the wrestling training?
Yes, sir. Coach Steve Moko, he runs our wrestling, and I actually help him with his kids club.
Awesome.
Wrestling. So I get to stay in there and get to continue to help kids and work in wrestling. Wrestling was kind of like my first love, as far as competing. So, wrestling always be like one of the things I'm really, really passionate about. So I try to keep my hand in coaching whenever I have the free time.
Absolutely. Because you learn when you teach, don't you?
You do. And the thing that I like the most is that, I'm teaching these kids, and when I fight, if I don't know if they look at the details, but if I don't do what I tell them to do, then
Right.
I would feel like a phony, you know.
Yep.
So I make sure to make sure to practice what I preach, and if it ever has any relevance in what we're going over, they watch all my fights, so I'll kind of like bring it up, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, you did do that," So that helps as well.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right. I think we got like about 7 minutes left. So I'm going to get your opinions. Your teammate, Sergey Morozov, has got Haulian Paiva. Morozov is a slight favorite, minus 140, minus 145. Paiva, the comeback, plus 115, plus 120. Since not as many people know about these guys as some of the cards higher, some of the fights higher up, can you give me maybe 30 seconds on how easily you think Sergey can win this, or is it going to be real close?
Honestly, I don't think it's going to be easy. There really isn't any fights here that's easy. And
No.
if it is, sometimes you get lucky, and sometimes
Yeah.
things just happen how they happen. But I think Sergey is going to win. I think it's going to be a hard fight, but honestly, Sergey could finish him. Sergey has really clean hands, but I think it's either going to be a second round TKO for Sergey, or it's going to be unanimous decision for Sergey.
Awesome. Very cool. An interesting one, Chris Curtis. The guy's like a little kind of like a Mike Tyson type of fighter in there, 5'10", 185. Rodolfo Vieira, the world jiu-jitsu champion, 5'11", and the guy looks like he walks around at like 230, and he cuts to 185. He did gas a couple years ago and get beat by Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. He came back looking leaner, better gas tank. This is such an exciting fight. It's like an old school throwback fight, because if the fight stays on its feet, Curtis is just going to light up the Brazilian, probably like nothing anyone's ever seen. It's going to be ugly. But if it can get into some grappling, especially if Vieira can be on top, could be big trouble for Chris Curtis, although Curtis's confidence got to be sky high. He's 2-0 in the UFC, 7-fight winning streak. Give me like 30, 45 seconds on how you think that one plays out in a winner, if you can.
I like Chris Curtis. I've actually fought on a couple cards with him. I think maybe like CES or something. Really good fighter. Kind of one of those fighters that, kind of took the journey I did. It seemed like the longer route, but it seemed like it was actually longer for him because he's been fighting longer. But very good hands. He's a very good athlete. I think Vieira's going to have trouble taking him down. And the longer, they stay on the feet, the worse it's going to be for Vieira. But obviously, if he gets his back, or if he gets him down, it could be over pretty quick. But I think Chris Curtis is going to win. I think he's going to stop him.
Sounds good. Here's one that's very strange to me, and I think these guys are 2 weight divisions above you. I think I may be wrong. They may be one, or I don't think they're best. But we got Umar Nurmagomedov. He's either Habib's cousin or brother. I keep on getting it wrong, but I think this might be his brother. I don't know if you know or not, but he's going up against Nathan Madness, or Nate Madness. And when I broke that fight down, looking at their records and looking at how tough these guys are, I was thinking this might be a pick'em, or maybe Habib's brother, maybe a slight favorite. This is about a 7-1 odds here. They're giving Nathan Madness no shot at all. And I can't see that. I know the Nurmagomedov name is going to scare a lot of people, but I'm not trying to lead you into anything. But I mean, am I missing something, or is Nate Madness a tough guy that could make this a fight?
I mean, honestly, like we said, this fight game is crazy. It's one of those things where you could swear up and down and just bet everything. And you just think with wholeheartedly that somebody's going to win, and then it can go completely opposite, you know? And so everybody always has a chance, especially if they're tough, especially if they're in good shape. There's always a chance, So I think it is going to be. I think it's going to be striker versus grappler. I think obviously Umar's going to want to get down. Manus is going to want to stay on the feet. And honestly, I don't know how to pick this fight. To be honest, I know that Umar's got really good grappling, and he's probably going to try to be attached to him as long as possible. And Manus is obviously going to try to do the opposite. So I guess it just depends on how well Manus can move and not get trapped against the cage, and how well Umar can do the opposite.
Yeah, I think at plus 520 or plus 600, there's value in Manus, don't you think?
Yeah, that's a huge, that's really lopsided.
Yeah.
It could be the last name that people see, and I think it may be his cousin.
Yeah.
And I think people see that and they,
They feel
the
he's just
name
a
kind of
killer.
holds a little bit of star power.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, I think Manus is live. Two. Okay, we got to hurry up and do the last two. We got, and is that top one's a minute? Okay, Shavkat Rakhmonov. We're talking about welterweights here. The man is from Kazakhstan, 15-0, all fights ending within the distance. This guy's a double tough kid, and he's jumping up in class a little bit here to go up against Neil Magny. He's 7 years younger than Magny, but Magny's 2 inches taller. Rakhmonov is the killer, shredded Eastern Bloc guy, but again, he's jumping up in class, in my opinion. I thought this fight would be fairly close in the odds, but once again, they got it about 3.5 to 1 in favor of Rakhmonov. You can get plus 300, even plus 320 on Neil Magny. I'm thinking this is a competitive fight, and I'm thinking really you get a guy jump up in class. There are levels to this game. I think Neil Magny could teach this kid a lesson. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I absolutely agree. Neil Magny's been there with the best of them. He's got, he's known as one of having the most wins in the welterweight division, I think. He's got a lot of fights and got a lot of experience, and he's a very good guy. So, I'm not sure the other guy's name. I'll say the guy from Kazakhstan.
Right.
I think if it's the guy who I think it is, he's really good as well. And I've always all of his fights have been fairly quick. It seems like, at least his UFC fights.
Yeah, Shavkat. Yep.
So it could be one of those things where you get a young guy that's on a run and used to blowing through people, and now he hits a wall. Now it may be similar to the situation with Khamzat and Gilbert Burns.
Right.
It could be like one of those situations.
Yep.
He could rise to the occasion, but I think it's going to be tough either way, and I hope it's like one of those fights. If so, it'll be very entertaining.
Yeah, I think so too. I think making Neil Magny like plus 300 is almost disrespectful. You know what I mean? But maybe that might motivate Neil, and he could make some extra money betting on himself. It's going to be close. I think we only got about 2 minutes left, so give me a quick minute and a half on this. I'm so excited. You got one man here who's 18-2 against a man who's 20-1. The 18-2 is the favorite, the man from Russia, but it sounds like he's Armenian background, and he is Arman Sarukian. He gave Islam Makhachev the closest fight I think anyone has given Makhachev, and that was early. In fact, I think that might have been Sarukian's first UFC fight. They put him against Islam, and he hung in all 3 rounds. The man he's going up against from Poland, Mateusz Gamrot, is a killer at 20-1 record, and they got, I like Sarukian. They got Sarukian almost 3-1 favorite. I thought this would be closer in odds. I like Arman Sarukian, but at these odds, I think this should be closer. Do you have a feeling, or what's your thought or knowledge about these two guys?
Honestly, both of these guys are my teammates.
Oh, man.
Both of these guys are ATT guys. Oh. And it's weird that they're fighting, but they both don't, live here. They're not, they don't live in America, and they don't train here every day. So it's not quite as awkward because they come for their fights for training and they leave for the most part. So it's not as awkward as, thinking about it being 2 ATT guys is awkward, but it's almost two different camps in a way.
Right.
They each have coaches. Right. They each have coaches at ATT.
Right. Can I ask real quick, have they ever trained with each other, do you think, at all?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I was wondering the same thing.
If so, not often, it would sound like.
Yeah, some guys, they're when you get guys that come to ATT, some guys are kind of hesitant with who they go with at times if they're new, so and then some guys just don't care. They just want to get better and they don't care. And both of them are probably in that boat to where they don't care.
What do you think
you're the best?
Yeah, and
if you think you're the best, you don't care.
Exactly.
What everybody else sees.
Exactly. Sorry for stepping on yours, but if you don't want to pick a winner here since you're your teammates, I'm cool with that. If you want to just maybe give me a breakdown and say you're on the fence, you could go either way. But let me know and tell me if you think this is a really close fight or what we should look for in this fight.
I think it's a really close fight. You got two guys that I think in the lightweight division are rising really fast. And, it kind of sucks that they're both hitting at the same time because I feel like they both, could break a little higher first before they have to go against each other. But,
Yeah.
Maybe there's something. I'm not their manager, so, I can't, and I'm not the UFC matchmakers. But either way, we're in for a really good fight. I think it's going to be, I honestly think it's going to go 3 rounds, and it's going to be a really, really close fight because both guys are fairly similar in styles, both very strong athletes, and man, it's going to be exciting. I'm really excited for this one.
Absolutely, and but at the main event, I think it's 5. I think this is scheduled for 5.
That's crazy. That's going to be a good fight because both guys are finishers, and both guys go after it every time. They don't pace themselves. They go out, and it's chaos as long as they're in there. So I'm expecting, it could very well be both those guys being just as tough as we think they are and going at it without, without any, kind of recklessly or
right.
Just like they would in the other fight. Or maybe they're both going to be really calm and be tactical. But I think either way, whether it's a tactical fight or a brawl, either way, I think it's going to be one of the best fights of the year.
Actually, you think it'll go the distance, or do you think it'll go even 3 full rounds if it's a 5-round fight, or 3?
I think it'll go the distance. You got 2 really durable guys, really tough guys that won't quit, and both haven't even really been in bad positions that we've seen in fights. So if you got 2 guys that know how to stay out of bad positions, like in grappling exchanges and stuff, and don't get hit a lot, then we could be in for a long night.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's going to be the immovable object against the irresistible force, and I'm putting my fist together. Right? It's going to be killer. Well, Tony Gravely, we got to wrap it up, man. I want to thank you so much for joining us. I would imagine, are you at Tony Gravely on all social media places?
Yes, sir. Tony Gravely 135.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you. I always value our time to chat. Huge respect for you. I'm a fan, and I want to thank you so much, Tony, for jumping back on here in the MMA Power Hour to chat with us.
Thank you. No problem. I really appreciate your support. Appreciate you having me back on. And I'm just happy to be back on. It's always great to talk to you.
Thank you. You're very welcome, my friend. Have a great night. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. You too. Thanks. Have a good one.
You too. Tony Gravely, Dr. Adam Roorda. I know we got to wrap it up quick, so I really appreciate the great work you do. Tony is an awesome guy, isn't he?
100%. We'll love having him on, and we'll have him on again. So everybody here, thank you so much for tuning in. Another great episode here, 100%. Make sure to hit up at MMA Power Hour on social media if you're on the Hannibal TV. If you're on our social media, head on over, check out the Hannibal TV on YouTube and Facebook as well. It's the Hannibal TV Great North Wrestling. You can search either one of those. If you want to Google it, you'll end up with the YouTube videos right off the bat. But thank you all so much. Also, check out lithtoken.io when you get a chance. On the rise right now. Top 9% cryptocurrency. Probably going to be hitting 5, maybe even 1% top cryptocurrency. So
absolutely
stick with it. Stay the course. And Colin, I am handing it off to you. Everybody out there, love you all. I'm tapping out, but handing over to Colin.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Dr. Roorda, for all you do. Really appreciate it. Great working with you for 5.5 years. Everyone go out there, spread the love in a positive way. Be that guy, be that girl. Will come back to you a million times over. Show love to your pets. Make sure they're taken care of in a hot summer like this. And walk your dog. Make sure your cat litter is clean. Save up money for medical care because they need it just like we do. Love yourself. Treat yourself more gentle and kind than you have been, because sometimes we can be really hard on ourselves. Big love and respect to you. For the entire team at the MMA Power Hour, I am Colin Crandall, and for tonight, I'm tapping out.